Hi, I'm Tommy. Welcome to this little bit corner, this little informal video. Here is where I'm gonna introduce myself and talk more about myself. And you probably clicked on this video to know more about me as a person. And hopefully you're a little bit intrigued and want to figure out some quirks or wherever this face is to the camera, right? So let's get the most obvious thing first. You perhaps noticing I have a little bit of a dialect, a little bit of an accent, and that's because I'm Swedish. English ain't my first language, it's my second language. So it takes, sometimes I take pauses to figure out how am I gonna translate this, what I'm gonna say. Does this make any sense in English? And sometimes I pronounce things very wrongly, and sometimes it just comes up very weird in my mouth. Probably a Swedish English expression of some sort, an idiom is called, essentially, like somebody taking a shit in a blue closet, or that is another fiver. You probably don't make any sense of it, you don't need to, but I'm Swedish, it's an idiom in Swedish, in the Sweden language at least. But for the meet and greet of it, I have been role playing for over 25 years. I started at 95, so I'm very old as a person. I have been DMing most of my time, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit of my story and my path, what it led to me very soon. But first, also my professional life. Is I'm working in the esports and TV industry mostly. I'm currently freelancing and trying to dip my toes in other things that I have a very deep passion about, like role-playing games, like this channel, for example. And what I'm gonna talk about next. Sorry for this unhinged video. Yeah, so that's my professional career. I've been working in, I've been very drawn to narrative and passionate based industry for all my life, and that's because I am very passionate about narration. It's my deepest passion. That's why I also love role-playing games and play games and so on, because I love how you can tell a story among friends and you make a game out of it, and you can create this very personal, very integrate, very what I'm gonna call a dramatic stories together, and I find that very fascinating. You create a moment in time together with your friends to create this amazing experience, and I love that. It's very much a big passion of mine, and this passion of telling stories have gone throughout my whole career. I'm using it when I'm making esports content. I'm using it when I'm working in the TV industry, because it's basically stories, right? You want to tell some form of narration in that sort of media. And when I also making other form of projects, I always go with the narration mind first, because that is my passion. And how did I get here? How do I start role-playing game and so on? It started essentially when I discovered my first fantasy. My bigger sister bought me a computer game. I believe this was 95, a video game called Shannara, the video game. Shannara, perhaps a lot of you guys know, is a fantasy series of book written by Terry Brooks, and I grew so fascinated, so passionate about this fantastic idea of there can be other creatures, it can be magic, it can be sorcery, it can be heroes, and I just loved it. I played that game through and through, back to back, I guess over 30 times. And my bigger sister noticed that and said, hey, start reading books. And I started reading books, and then she recommended me a fantasy book that was called essentially Drakar och Demoner. It doesn't mean anything for you as an English speaker, but that is a Swedish, more or less, correspondence to Dungeons and Dragons, which essentially translate to dragons and demons. It's essentially so close you can be without being a copyright infringement to Dungeons and Dragons trademark. And this was in the end of the 90s, so it makes sense, right? This role-playing system is still very active today and actually very popular. When it was now, it's owned by Fria Ligan, which essentially, I would put it as the English title of this role-playing game is Dragonbane. So I'm going to refer it to Dragonbane. So not its proper name or proper translation, which is Dragons and Demons. So essentially, my sister recommended me this book, Dragonbane, and I tried to look for it in libraries, local libraries, and did not find it. Of course, it's a game, it's not a literary book, but and this was before the internet, essentially, before any good search engine could find stuff. But I managed to find, which essentially was the Swedish version of a GeoCity site speaking about it and speaking about role-playing games, and I grew very fascinated. And I believe it was around 1997 or something, where I did an exchange program with Germany. And so Sven, that became my exchange partner to learn a little bit more German. We talked, and he said, "Oh, I play a lot of role-playing games. I know a lot of it." So when he came to Sweden, we sat down and played a session. I still remember it very strongly because it was a Star Wars D6 system, and whenever I try to figure out, okay, what is going on? Why are the stormtroopers here? It's because my smuggler owned the ship, and I was owning a lot of money to Jabba the Hutt, and I started to question, why are my stormtroopers searching my ship? He pulled up a water gun and poured water on me and tell, "I'm the game master. Do not question me. I'm the game master." So that was a very strong first impression. And then, of course, I tried to figure out how do I get this stuff, because online shopping wasn't that big. If you wanted to get something, you went to the store and got it. And the physical store, especially for the small town I was living in, had no role-playing games. It had no role-playing systems whatsoever. It was a very new concept, essentially. Sure, a lot of people had got a hands of it, and especially in Stockholm, there was very specialist stores that sold role-playing game systems. But me at the time did not find those stores. But I managed to find a copy of Dragonbane in a store, in a toy store, when we were returning our trip from visiting my grandmother. And I bought a set of dice, and this setting, Chronopia, deserves a video on its own because it's lunatic how weird that system is, or sorry, how that world is. But anyway, that Dragonbane became my first role-playing game. And then I introduced it to my friends and closer friends, and I DM'd it, and I was forever DM as ever, and we played it every freaking night after that. I mean, I remember it because one of my friends' parents bought a school and lived in the school and renovated part of the school to be essentially their house, and then we used another part of the school, one of the smaller classrooms, to be our D&D room. So we came there on a Friday and just played non-stop until Sundays. I would say that it's not essential D&D. We also played, tried out D&D, but we played Dragonbane, we played Mutant Chronicles, I remember Warhammer, I remember all these different, both Swedish and English role-playing games we tried out and played a lot, and that was essentially my life for 4 years. It was wonderful. And after that, I also, corresponding, I also heard about LARPing, so I started doing LARP, and essentially that I am the biggest nerd ever in my industry, in my whole. I have grown very passionate about this. So I'm hoping to use this channel to share my knowledge, my ideas, especially about narration, how you can use the ideas of film narration and so on to role-playing games, and how you can create more cinematic part of role-playing games. So with that said and done, I think you know a lot about me. No, actually no. Let's talk shortly, where am I now? I'm living still in Sweden. I'm doing a lot of freelancing. I'm writing a lot of RPG stuff and trying to get to the core of things am very passionate about. To do a lot of stuff that I'm passionate about, as part of this YouTube series, for example. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy your stay here. I hope you find my videos very likable and very educational is the word I'm looking for. So until next time, take care and see you then.